episode number 16 of My Trucking Life, Truth, Trucking, and Tribulations from the Trucker's Table. In our last episode, we left off, I had left Landstar. I had a traumatic wreck, nearly ended my life, serious injuries, and amazing recovery, to be honest with you. And I'm not just saying that trying to toot my own horn or anything like that, but I had burns, I had skin grafts, I had all that done, and I was back to work in about a month. It was right around a month, because I went back to work just before Labor Day, and the wreck happened July 28th. So I looked, during my recovery, I was steady looking for jobs, trying to figure out where and what I could do. And I was willing to do just about anything, you know. I looked at warehouseman, working in a warehouse, driving a forklift, trying to figure out something to do that didn't involve an 18-wheeler. And for somebody, I mean, I had military experience, you know, stuff like that, but there was just, at that time, the economy and everything else, there just wasn't any good jobs that I could find, to be honest with you. And I looked, and so I started looking for some trucking jobs. I was doing that all along, but I was kind of keeping that in the background, trying to figure out something, you know. So there's a local company, well, I say local, their main office is out of Mobile, Alabama, and but they have a branch office here, or branch warehouse and everything here in Tallahassee. It's called Hackbarth Delivery Systems or Services or something like that. Anyway, here in Tallahassee, they had 2 day cab trucks, 2, I want to say 53-foot dry vans with the roll-up doors, and they also had like a straight body truck. And all this was leased through Ryder. They leased all the trucks and trailers and everything through Ryder, so Ryder took care of all the maintenance, fueling, upkeep, everything like that. So every day we'd go by there and fuel the trucks before the run. And basically what we did was, at Hackbarth, we hauled pharmaceuticals for McKesson and for Cardinal. And both of those distribution centers that we picked up in, that we hauled the drugs, was out of Lakeland, Florida. They were actually like a mile apart down there in Lakeland. And in between them was the Coca-Cola place. So if you're familiar with Lakeland, they're off of I-4. There's a Coca-Cola plant, and then on each side of it is the McKesson on one side, Cardinal on the other. So we had 2 drivers, one in each truck, and they would go down to Lakeland, load down there. They'd leave out in the afternoon around 4:30. They'd go down there, live load, and then come back up here, and they'd be back at the warehouse around 3 a.m. And then that's where I came in. Then I would take one of the trucks, and I would run over to Pensacola. And what they did was, they took some of the product from Cardinal and took it off the trailer. Took some of the product from McKesson, took it off the trailer. And then there was a guy that came down from Albany who drove a straight body truck, and he would get some of each trailer. And then there was also another company that had van service, where they had delivery vans, and they would, some of the product would stay in Tallahassee. It would get divided up depending on the route where they were running, and they cover a big, huge, I'd say at least 100-mile radius of Tallahassee, where they would deliver to every Walmart, Winn-Dixie, Publix, all these different pharmacies, you know, CVS, Walgreens, and so they would deliver, you know, to them. So we had a forklift driver, and he would do all this, you know, and so I would take my load, a mixture of Cardinal and McKesson, and I would take it to Pensacola. And I'd get over there every morning around 6:30, 7 o'clock, and they would unload me over there. And then they would take the empty totes from the previous day, load them onto the trailer, and I would bring the empty totes back. And then I would also load up all the totes that other delivery drivers from the vans. I would put those on pallets, make sure those were palletized, stretch wrap them and everything, and load them on a trailer. And McKesson's went to McKesson, Cardinals went to Cardinal, and we separated them like that. And they went back to those places when they went back at night to go pick up. And we did this 5 days a week. So, and I want to say we rotated. I can't remember if it was McKesson or Cardinal, one of those two. Also, I think had a Saturday run, and they would do it on Saturday mornings. So, but it wasn't near as much. It was like a half order, if that, so it wasn't that much. So I was doing this job. I was making, oh man, maybe 25% of what I was making at Landstar. I mean, I took a huge pay cut leaving Landstar and doing this, and but I was home every day, I'd have to be at work around 3 a.m. somewhere in there, and then I'd usually get off around 2 in the afternoon, something like that. 2 or 3 in the afternoon I'd get off, so I was working almost 12 hours, right at 12 hours a day. And there was no ELD log books or anything like that, because it was local. I wasn't driving that far. And so I did this, from September, October, November, December, January, February, March, and into April. During this time, now that I have a W-2 coming in and not a 1099, because that's another thing too. When I had the 1099, I was making really good money at Landstar, and I would average somewhere between $8,500 to $10,000 a week. I'm sorry, not a week, a month, that I would deposit in my checking account. And by that I mean after all my expenses, after fuel expenses, all that stuff, I was putting that much in the bank. And so I was doing really good. Our debt was paid down, everything was good, and we tried to buy a house. And they wanted a Schedule C, they wanted this, they wanted that, they wanted profits and loss and this and da-da-da. I was like, golly, I've only been at Landstar for, about a year or so. I don't really have a whole lot to show you, And so we just couldn't get a house. I mean, I was making plenty of money, but we just couldn't get a house because of all the hoops you had to jump through and everything else. And I just didn't have all the documentation they needed. And I had a really good tax guy and accountant. So it looked like I wasn't making any money because I wasn't paying hardly any tax. And so that was another thing that hurt me. If I had showed making a lot of money, paying a lot of taxes, then I would have been way better off. It looked like I was losing money, but I was actually making money. But optics, right? So anyway, after I got to Hackbarth and I'm getting a W-2 and a regular paycheck stub every week, we go to the bank and try again. Boom, right off the bat, you got approved. $250,000. I was like, awesome. Because in our area where we live, and we weren't going to buy a house in the city anyway. We didn't even look in the city limits. Everything we looked at was out in the country, because I'm just not a city boy. I'm a country boy. Born and raised in the country, and I'll always be a country boy. I'll never, ever live in a big city. I just can't do it. There's nothing wrong with people that can. Some of the finest people I know are city folks, but I'm just not one of them. So we started looking around, and Leon County, man, it was expensive. So we started branching out, looking Cullah County. We looked at up here where we're at now, Gaston County, and we looked at a couple places around here. And one day we saw this place, and we were like, wow, it's got potential. 10 acres and swimming pool and greenhouse, and it's just, I mean, it was like what I've always wanted. I've always wanted a swimming pool, but we thought we'd have to buy a place and then have one put in. And this one's already got it. Well water and all this other stuff. You got a well, and it's way off the highway and way back in the woods, and you're secluded. You don't see another person. You don't see another neighbor's house. You don't see nothing but woods, and that's what I wanted. So I fell in love with the place. The inside needed a little touch up, paint, stuff like that. A young couple had bought the house, and they had tried to fix it up some. So we got approved. Everything went through. Me being a veteran, I was able to use the VA Association VA home loan thing. So one of the conditions of that was the roof has to have at least 7 years of viability. I believe that's correct. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think that's right. Anyway, the roof was shot. It had maybe 7 weeks of viability. So the people that live here had to strip the roof, put a brand new roof on it before we could do the loan and everything with the VA, which was great because we didn't have to put any money down. We don't have to have the the insurance, the loan insurance or whatever it's called, because the VA covers all that. So you don't have to have all that. So man, this is awesome. We got a house. We were so excited, and I'm working at Hackbarth, so I'm off on weekends. I'm home every day, so we're working around the house. We're doing all this, and things are going great. First 2 weeks, right? We're living here, and I'm working at Hackbarth, and right around my birthday, because we bought the house in March, and I think we moved in sometime in March and everything. So our first mortgage payment, I think, is coming due in April or May, somewhere in there. And I had a little incident at work. Not a wreck. One of the most craziest things I have ever... When I tell people what happened, nobody believes me. Nobody. And then I explain it to them, and people that know me and know I'm telling the truth, that I don't lie, they believe me. When you go to apply for another job, you have to look these people in the eye and tell them this, or they won't believe you. They won't believe you if you just write it down on paper. There's no way. It was crazy. You would not believe what happened. That cost me my job. By me exercising one of my rights as an American citizen, I lost my job, kinda. Anyway, we'll talk about it in episode 17 of My Trucking Life, and you're not gonna believe it. Trust me. You're gonna say you should have sued, and trust me, I did. I didn't sue, but I looked for lawyers. I couldn't find a lawyer to take the case. But anyway, I'll tell you more about it in episode 17 of My Trucking Life: Truth, Trucking, and Tribulations from the Trucker's Table. So y'all take it easy. Have a great day. It's Monday. Enjoy it. How can you enjoy a Monday? It's Monday. You got the rest of the week.